The Kansas City Chiefs entered the offseason with expectations high, but a recent locker room speech by head coach Andy Reid has sent shockwaves through the organization. In a rare moment of candidness, Reid addressed the team, signaling shifts that could redefine strategy, leadership, and player dynamics. Patrick Mahomes, the franchise quarterback, reportedly delivered a response that stunned teammates and staff alike, creating a ripple effect that will dominate headlines in the months to come. Understanding the impact of this speech requires context. The Chiefs are coming off a season filled with both triumphs and challenges, where playoff outcomes and regular season performance highlighted strengths and exposed vulnerabilities. Reid's address was not simply motivational. It contained revelations about team philosophy, expectations, and potential offseason adjustments that directly affect players' roles and responsibilities. Analysts immediately noted the unusual combination of leadership, transparency, strategic insight, and emotional intensity. This chapter sets the stage, emphasizing why the speech, coupled with Mahomes' reaction, represents one of the most significant offseason developments in recent Chiefs history. Affecting culture, performance, and public perception, Andy Reid's offseason address was detailed, structured, and unusually candid. He highlighted both achievements and areas where the team fell short, identifying patterns in performance, missed opportunities, and tactical weaknesses. The speech emphasized accountability, teamwork, and leadership, with Reid challenging players to elevate their execution while maintaining cohesion. Analysts noted that Reid used examples from past seasons to illustrate points, demonstrating a clear plan for refining strategies, integrating new personnel, and optimizing decision-making. The content of the speech included insights on offensive schemes, defensive coordination, and the balance between individual performance and collective responsibility. Reid also addressed team culture, emphasizing discipline, resilience, and adaptability as essential components of sustained success. The timing of this address, early in the offseason, allows players and staff to reflect and adjust before training camps and preseason activities. Understanding the full scope of Reid's message is essential, as it signals both continuity and transformation within the Chiefs' approach, setting expectations for the season ahead while reinforcing the coach's strategic vision. The address frames both motivation and accountability as inseparable pillars of the team's offseason agenda. Patrick Mahomes' reaction to Reid's speech has quickly become the focal point of discussion. Sources indicate that Mahomes expressed unexpected concerns and observations, prompting a stunned reaction from the locker room. Analysts describe the response as a mix of surprise, challenge, and emotional candor, unusual for a leader accustomed to measured communication. Mahomes reportedly addressed issues ranging from offensive cohesion to leadership dynamics, signaling both personal commitment and expectations for teammates. This response highlights the quarterback's influence within the organization, demonstrating that his voice carries both authority and weight. The reaction also underscores the delicate balance between leadership alignment and open dialogue, emphasizing that even star players actively shape culture, strategy, and accountability. Media outlets have quickly framed Mahomes' comments as both a revelation and a potential turning point for team dynamics. Understanding his response clarifies why the offseason now carries heightened attention, as the convergence of Reid's leadership and Mahomes' candid input could redefine interactions, roles, and expectations across the roster. The impact extends beyond the locker room, influencing narratives, fan perception, and organizational strategy. The locker room reportedly reacted with surprise and intense reflection following the exchange between Reid and Mahomes. Players absorbed the message, processing both praise and critique, while internal dynamics shifted subtly yet noticeably. Analysts note that moments of candor from leadership and elite players often serve as catalysts for self-assessment, team recalibration, and renewed focus. Discussions emerged regarding roles, responsibilities, and execution standards, highlighting the influence of leadership transparency on behavior and performance. Emotional intensity, combined with professional respect, created a unique atmosphere where accountability became immediately tangible. Staff and assistant coaches observed and mediated the reactions, ensuring that discussions remained constructive rather than divisive. This environment fosters both challenge and growth, prompting players to evaluate contributions and embrace elevated expectations. Understanding locker room reactions emphasizes that leadership events are not isolated. They affect cohesion, morale, and motivation. The Chiefs now face a period where reflection, adaptation, and dialogue are central to maintaining performance standards. The intensity of the moment illustrates the intersection of psychology, leadership, and operational dynamics within elite athletic organizations. The exchange between Reid and Mahomes has profound implications for Chiefs culture. Transparency, accountability, and candor emerge as defining themes, emphasizing that elite performance requires open communication and alignment between leadership and players. Analysts suggest that this event may strengthen cohesion, as players internalize expectations and recognize the stakes of consistent execution. The combination of coaching direction and quarterback insight signals that culture is shaped collectively, blending top-down guidance with peer influence. This moment also serves as a precedent, demonstrating that leadership values honesty, resilience, and active engagement. Internal dialogue following the speech likely prompted discussions about standards, priorities, and mutual responsibilities. Maintaining a culture that balances challenge with support is essential, ensuring that performance pressure does not erode trust or morale. Understanding these cultural impacts highlights how elite teams evolve through candid interactions, reinforcing norms, behaviors, and expectations. The Chiefs' approach underscores that sustainable success depends on the alignment of leadership messaging, player commitment, and organizational philosophy, making this offseason moment a defining cultural touchpoint. Beyond culture, Reid's address and Mahomes' response carry strategic consequences. Analysts note that discussions touched on offensive coordination, defensive readiness, and situational decision-making. The quarterback's input may influence play-calling philosophy, personnel deployment, and training emphasis. Coaching staff now face the challenge of integrating candid observations into actionable plans while preserving continuity and consistency. Adjustments may include increased focus on communication, adaptation to defensive schemes, and refined execution standards. Timing is critical, as off-season preparation sets the foundation for the upcoming season, impacting both performance and competitive positioning. Strategic planning must consider not only tactics, but also player psychology, leadership alignment, and team cohesion. Understanding these implications highlights the multidimensional nature of elite sports decision-making, where culture, performance, and strategy converge. The combined insights of Reid and Mahomes provide a roadmap for refinement, offering both immediate and long-term operational advantages. This alignment between leadership vision and quarterback perspective ensures that strategy evolves in parallel with culture, accountability, and execution. Media coverage of the exchange has been intense and widespread. Headlines emphasize the dramatic nature of Mahomes' response and the implications for team dynamics. Analysts dissected each component, evaluating potential impacts on performance, leadership, hierarchy, and locker room cohesion. Fans reacted with shock, excitement, and speculation about upcoming offseason decisions. Social media amplified discussions about strategy, accountability, and leadership philosophy. Experts noted that transparency from Reid and candidness from Mahomes reflects a unique leadership synergy, but also introduces scrutiny and pressure. Media narratives influence public perception, shaping expectations for both players and staff. Coverage extends beyond the immediate organization, impacting league-wide reputation, fan engagement, and competitor analysis. Understanding media and fan reactions highlights the external dimension of leadership events, demonstrating that organizational decisions are scrutinized across multiple platforms. Public narratives can reinforce or challenge internal messaging, making the interaction between media coverage and organizational dynamics critical. The Chiefs now navigate both internal adaptation and external expectation simultaneously. The offseason dialogue may influence roster decisions, rotations, and role definitions. Analysts suggest that Mahomes' feedback could impact training camp priorities, positional competition, and strategic adjustments. Players may face heightened expectations for accountability, preparation, and execution. Coaching staff may reevaluate personnel deployment, integrating lessons from both Reid's insights and Mahomes' perspective. Organizational decisions regarding contracts, trades, or development pathways could be shaped by this candid exchange. Understanding potential roster implications highlights the interconnectedness of leadership, strategy, and operational decisions. Every adjustment influences not only individual performance, but also collective efficacy, cohesion, and adaptability. The Chiefs' ability to integrate feedback and align strategy, culture, and personnel may define competitive outcomes in the upcoming season. Analysts predict that effective adaptation to these dynamics will provide both short-term advantages in games and long-term reinforcement of organizational philosophy. Leadership candor combined with player influence emphasizes that roster decisions are as much about culture and accountability as they are about talent and skill evaluation. The Reid-Mahomes exchange provides a case study in elite leadership. Transparency, accountability, and responsiveness emerge as central themes, highlighting how top-level coaching and player influence shape organizational outcomes. Analysts note that candid dialogue strengthens cohesion, reinforces expectations, and drives performance improvements. Leadership effectiveness depends on aligning vision with execution, balancing challenge with support, and fostering trust while demanding excellence. Players internalize messaging through observation, engagement, and adaptation, demonstrating that leadership is both directive and participatory. Understanding these lessons highlights that sustainable success in professional sports requires continuous communication, feedback, integration, and collaborative problem-solving. The Chiefs' experience underscores the importance of timing, tone, and clarity in leadership messaging. The interaction also illustrates the dual role of star players as both performers and cultural influencers. Lessons extend beyond tactics, emphasizing psychological preparedness, organizational alignment, and resilience. Reid's approach, complemented by Mahomes' candid feedback, provides a framework for leadership that is both responsive and strategically oriented. Shaping both culture and performance simultaneously, the Chiefs' offseason developments, marked by Andy Reid's speech and Patrick Mahomes' response, exemplify the intersection of leadership, accountability, and strategic vision. The exchange redefines expectations, emphasizes transparency, and highlights the influence of elite players in shaping team culture. Analysts note that culture, strategy, and performance are inseparable, requiring alignment across leadership, roster, and staff. The intensity and candor of the conversation reinforce professional standards while prompting reflection, adaptation, and growth. The event also underscores the importance of communication, trust, and resilience in sustaining competitive excellence. Immediate impacts on preparation, team cohesion, and strategy are evident, while long-term consequences may influence culture, roster decisions, and organizational philosophy. The convergence of coaching insight and quarterback influence provides a blueprint for navigating challenges, fostering accountability, and reinforcing standards. Ultimately, this moment demonstrates that elite organizations thrive when leadership, performance, and culture are actively aligned, and that transparency, candid feedback, and strategic adaptation define sustained success in professional sports. The Chiefs' response will shape both their immediate trajectory and enduring legacy.